Yeah, just a quick review of Carpal Comfort. This is the carpal tunnel roll-on. Kind of interesting product. So basically, what's it for? Well, obviously, it's if you have carpal tunnel. And what you do is you just kind of roll this substance on your wrist, and it's supposed to help your wrist out. So how exactly does that work? Well, anytime you're considering using something like this, something where you're applying a lotion or a cream or something, you need to ask yourself one thing. What are the active ingredients? Okay, so what's an active ingredient? Well, it's any ingredient that has a direct biological effect or pharmacological activity in the body. So in other words, these are the main ingredients that make the whole thing work. Okay, so in the case of Carpal Comfort, there's two main active ingredients. There's benzyl alcohol, and then there's lidocaine. And both of these are like topical anesthetics. So basically, that's how this works. You have pain, you apply this topical anesthetic. What an anesthetic does is it just kind of shuts down the nerve impulses, kind of numbs things, and then you don't have the pain. So that's basically what this is for. Really easy to use, worth a try, I think. Got a couple active ingredients instead of one. So yeah, if you're thinking about trying something different, you really want to avoid like surgery when you have carpal tunnel, this is one thing you could try. There's a couple other things you can try. I'll show you real quick. The sore wrist solution has a couple of these things listed in here I thought were rather interesting. I'll show you real quick. Or if you just even have just a sore wrist. There's a lot of carpal tunnel stuff in here too. Okay, that's anatomy stuff. Okay, increase wrist circulation. Okay, one thing you can do, everybody knows, is use like a hot pack, but that's nothing groundbreaking. I thought this was interesting. It shows you how to make a hot pack out of a tube sock and some rice. But what about using heat and then cold and then heat and then cold? That's called contrast therapy. So that's something you can actually do rather simply in your kitchen at the sink. And so basically what you're doing is you're using heat for a while, then you're using cold, then you're using heat, then you're using cold. And so what you do is you have this super flushing effect, because what you're doing is you're really increasing the circulation, then you're kind of shutting it down, decreasing it, then you're increasing it, decreasing it. So this has just this massive flushing effect on all the tissues in your wrist, which is really helpful if you have any kind of wrist condition, even carpal tunnel. Decrease wrist pressure. So with carpal tunnel specifically, most of the time the pressures increase. The problem is increased pressure in the carpal tunnel, and if there's a way you can get that down. Now surgeons do that by cutting this thing called the flexor retinaculum. It's just like ligament that goes over the wrist. They cut that and they open up the carpal tunnel and take the pressure off of it. Well, there is another way you can do that conservatively. Use this technique here, and if you do that for 1 minute, according to the study, if you do that for 1 minute, you can actually drastically decrease carpal tunnel pressure for at least 15 minutes. Now, the researchers didn't really measure it any longer than that, so for all I know, it could be like 30 or 50 minutes. We just don't know. But hey, doing this for 1 minute, decrease pressure for at least 15 minutes, that's really helpful. So if you do that several times a day, you're actually giving your whole wrist, when you drive down that pressure, the wrist now has time to rest and recover. Those tissues aren't being stressed anymore, the pressure's being taken off, and it gives them a chance to catch up and heal. So that's the whole idea about that. Really simple technique. Relax your wrist. Other things you can do to increase the circulation and massage the muscles and everything in your wrist. And plus, this just plain feels good if you have carpal tunnel. So use this as tennis ball at the table. It'll show you a couple techniques you can use. Unload your wrist joints. Sometimes your wrist is tight, and it just doesn't really, it hurts, and it's coming from the joints. There's a simple distraction technique you can use in sitting, and that's where you just kind of pull the bones apart gently, a matter of millimeters. So if you have any even like an overworked wrist joint, or you have an arthritic joint. I mean, joints that have arthritis they just love distraction, because basically you're pulling them apart, you're taking all the pressure off the joint. Here again, gives it time to catch up, rest, and relax. So here's a simple technique you can do a couple times a day. So yeah, there's actually a lot you can do for carpal tunnel or just a sore wrist. This is one thing you can conservatively try. I mean, it's better than jumping right into surgery. And if you're hurting, this might have an instant effect, because it's, like I say, it's an anesthetic, works right away. So anyway, check it out.